Broadcasting from the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command. Fascinating.
God damn you all to hell!
It's the Sci-Fi Podcast. This is the Solo One Sci-Fi Podcast, Michael Ball with Martin Fowler for a brand new decade and a brand new year. Hello, Martin. How are you?
Hello, how are you? I'm good.
I'm very well, thank you. Happy New Year to you.
To you.
Back for the year 2020. Only 2 years to go until Soylent Green Day, which is quite scary.
God, that is terrifying.
Silent Green is people!
And we're already past the Logan's Run era as well, because that was last year, 2019. So we're in the future. We are now in the future.
Yeah, but where's the flying cars? Where's the jetpacks?
I know. We'll probably have riots in 4 years, like the Bell riots, but it won't.
God, not the Bell riots. Good God, no.
No, if people don't know what we're talking about, it was a well-known story from an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which is a really good one.
The Sanctuary District.
Yeah, that's right, the Sanctuary District. It was all about... they was just putting people into these weird sort of... people who couldn't get jobs, they just put them in these sort of blocks where they're all kind of like just forgotten about, and it was Gabriel Bell, played by Cisco, who was trying to sort of it was the instigated the change which eventually sort of led towards peace on Earth and the Federation and all that sort of stuff, wasn't it?
Well, it started the path towards that. There was a Third World War.
Oh, that's true. That was afterwards. Yeah. So apart from that,
but we're on our way.
We're on our way. We only got a nuclear war to get through, and then we're there. There you go.
Well, we're getting a bit worried this week.
Oh no,
yeah.
I know. The thing is, you always get these things over in America, and unfortunately the Middle East is a very unstable area, and a lot of things...
Yes, I know, but we have to get to 2022 because I want to start eating people.
Oh, God, I know. Well, I don't. All you got to do is... The thing is, you've got no control over it. I haven't either. You just have to hope that what happens in Iraq and Iran will be okay. So there we go.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
That sounded Star Wars. What was that?
It's been fun. Hang on. Hello? Yeah, can I have to phone you back? All right.
Oh, God. That's the blooper. That's that way. If you don't mind, I'll have to add that to the bloopers.
No, I'm waiting for someone to, call. It's always, every time I sit down and watch Doctor Who, somebody phones me up.
Oh, no, I'm the same. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Let's quickly go into the latest sci-fi news, which I've come across.
Working.
So the sci-fi
News.
I haven't actually come across a lot. What I've seen is they've released a new short trek trailer for the new Star Trek Picard thing, which I think is going to be released in a couple of days' time from this recording. I think it's something like the Thursday, the 9th of Jan. And it features two girls, apparently. And then apparently a shuttle flies in, and it doesn't seem to give much of a link to the Star Trek Picard series.
It's set on Mars.
Oh, okay. Is it on Mars, this one?
I think so, yeah. I've seen a bit of it. I saw... Some did a review, there's some little clips of it.
And apparently they're using Discovery shuttles or something. And of course,
yes.
Trek yards are saying, well, this isn't right because it's not canon. And they're right, it isn't, but I don't know. It seems like a bit of a strange start. You'd think it would start off with something like on Romulus, and even if it wasn't Picard himself, you'd see Starfleet trying to aid the situation because Romulus is going to be destroyed, but you know.
Well, Romulus is gone. It went 20 years before, didn't it? 10 years before.
Oh, actually, I think you're right. It was 10 years. It was after Nemesis, wasn't it? It was. You're right. No, you're right. Actually, was it? I thought it was.
Yeah, it was the Hobie Supernova. It's in the games, the online game. It's apparently Commander Seelar led a Romulan faction trying to take over the government, and they put some device in a star, created the Hobie Supernova. But quote me on that.
Yeah,
but I don't know whether this is now official canon, so they'll change it.
Yeah, because it was featured on Star Trek in 2009 and we see Spock, and he said it was, it's late 2013 4th century, wasn't it? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll find out soon. It's not long to go. But the new trailer, they've done some more work on Brent Spiner's recreated face for Data. And it's now looking a lot closer than as he did in Nemesis now. So they've kind of refined the look of him because he looked slightly off in those early trailers. So it should be good.
Next Wednesday they're showing Picard at the Odeon in Leicester Square.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're doing a live showing, and they're asking. Well, there was a thing on Facebook. I've got a link for it about people that want to go down and stand in
Would you want to
this
go
area where you can see the stars. I think you've got to go about 8 o'clock in the morning to get in.
Yeah.
I'm not hanging about down there till 7 o'clock at night.
No, yeah, especially when you're only going to wait a couple of weeks until it's on.
Yeah,
fair enough. Okay. Any other news that you've come across from your perspective that you want to share with us?
Quite a few interesting ones actually. I was apparently Godzilla versus King Kong. Yes, they're bringing the classic back.
Okay, that should be interesting. I mean, go on.
Well, there's obviously another monster, but Mecha Godzilla's entering the fray now.
Oh, that's right.
It's official, yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting. I mean, like I said, I've always been a bit put off when superheroes get together. After I saw Superman versus Batman, which I thought was I thought it was terrible. I thought it was an awful film.
Oh, you never said that.
I
deny
I'm
that.
sorry. Okay, maybe you're a fan. I thought it was god awful. But it's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it is always interesting if you know sort of two well-known superheroes from different franchises and what would they be like together. So,
I think Mechagodzilla, part of the Godzilla monster. What is it? They've created. What is it? The new monster universe or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I recently saw the what was it? King of Monsters.
All right.
I've seen it. It was. I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was. I grew up on the cheesy ones, from Japan.
Yeah. They're the ones I was always thinking about.
Yeah, that's still, even now, that's Godzilla to me. But to see it with the modern CGI, I've got to admit, I quite enjoyed the film. I was surprised.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've also had a look here, and apparently some more news for the new Matrix film. Apparently, Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves are reprising their roles as Neo and Trinity, respectively, even though they were killed off, or apparently killed off, and in the end of the last one, which could be interesting. Do you think that'd be a good thing to continue the Matrix films, or do you think it's...
I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan of the first one. I thought the first one defined a decade of filmmaking.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was amazing.
The second and third, I've got one. I mean, they were spectacular, but they were just boring.
Yeah, I actually I thought the third one was good with the attack on Zion, but yeah, it didn't have the sort of concepts which the first one had, which I think is what blew us all away when we first watched it.
I think the first, I always thought having the first as a one-off would have been enough.
It might have been a better idea to do it, actually. It might have made it a long-term, a sort of higher regarded film rather than slightly diluted. Yes. That's the problem, you see. And it goes, actually, we're going to go into the main topic now of the Star Wars films. And of course, but actually that's it for news from my end. So anything else news before we go on to our topics tonight?
Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
First poster.
I saw it. What's it called? What's the title of it again?
Oh, I forgot.
No, I forgot as well. It just got...
But it never had an impact on me, that film. It never really did.
I liked Avatar. I thought it was a bit too long, but I did like it. But the new poster looks like it might as well have just been taken from the old poster, and it was just so they're giving nothing away from a title which we've both forgotten already. So maybe that's not a good sign. But I mean, it'll be huge. It's out next Christmas, I think, that should be interesting. Anything else before we finish and go on to our topics?
Yeah, can we talk spoilers on Star Wars?
Yeah, but this is going to be, just to warn people, this is a spoiler-filled discussion on all the big things we've watched over the New Year's, which are basically the shows and films we want to cover. Or have you seen The Mandalorian now in full?
No, I'm going to be watching the final episode this week.
So we won't talk about the end of that then.
It's 48 minutes long, apparently.
It is. It's a long one, and it's very, very good. So we won't. That's the one thing we won't discuss. But we can talk about Lost in Space, the new Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, and of course the new Doctor Who. So let's go into our topics, and here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week.
All right, so big month for sci-fi for us fans, of course, with the final Star Wars film. Yes, the Skywalker 9-part storyline is finished. Tell me what you thought about it. What was the good things? What were the bad things? And let's bounce off each other and see how it goes.
I went to see it at 10 o'clock in the morning. There were two of us sat in the cinema.
Oh no!
Yeah, on the day it was on I think it was Thursday I saw it, and I was half and half. I mean, I didn't hate the film. I did enjoy it, but there was a lot of flaws in there.
Well, you see, it was course correction. It was damage limitation.
Yes.
A lot of people, of course, hated the Rise of the Last Jedi, rather. I didn't loathe it, but it was definitely a weaker one for me, and it took the film saga in a very strange direction. We had Luke Skywalker had a completely different personality change. We had Snoke suddenly dying and all this stuff. And so with this one, of course, they tried to patch up the dents caused by the last film. And of course, they had to try to do a lot within limited time. So the film was rushed a bit. It was certainly a film where it never stopped for 2 minutes, which of course in some ways is damaging, because you need time to focus on a storyline, the characters, what the situations are. And it was literally the first 10 minutes was them jumping from one planet to the next and going here and going there, although we did see Palpatine very early, which surprised me. The idea of it though was that it all just seemed to go a bit too much in one way and one other way. It's a strange film, really. I've only seen it once, and although I enjoyed it, I definitely need to see it about 3 or 4 times to actually have a proper review, I think.
Yeah, I thought that was my fault. I said that.
Did you? Yeah, I mean, it was just a bit too sort of fast-paced, and there was just too much happening.
I did like the beginning when you got into the when he's like slaughtering people right at the beginning with his lightsaber, and he gets that wayfinder device, and he turns up there. I quite liked all that, and then you saw him, the Emperor, and I sort of it all fitted a bit too easy. He meets this strange dude he'd heard about 30 years ago, and suddenly he's going, you can have all that if you go kill her.
That's right.
And then suddenly he's wanting her to be there. It was just... I mean, I did like the opening sequence, but there were things that just didn't make... It sort of backtracked on itself a bit.
But do you think it was a bit of a cop-out having Palpatine return?
No, but I think, for me, I think he's one of the greatest villains in pop culture.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually think it was great as well. But of course, some people would say, well, he should have died on the Death Star in Episode 6, and how come he survived? And things like that. I mean, it's... but I thought, although he didn't have a huge role for a part of the film, when he was in it, he was great. Although, of course, he looked really different.
He was superb. I really enjoyed... I mean, there is a couple of flaws in there with him, but... for somebody who liked the first 6 movies, like with the prequel, somebody who masterminded a scheme on that level, is, even if you're going to kill him off somehow, he's a man with a plan A, B, and C.
But I mean, he was actually really one of the integral parts of the whole thing, which, as you say, having him for the last of the sequels was, I think, a good idea, and it brought sort of fruition to the whole saga of Palpatine, from the early ones, and But it's one thing though, when he returned in episode 3, of course, he had the fight with the lightsaber, where his energy bounced back and he became scarred, and his forehead became that sort of distorted sort of look that he had, which was carried on into episode 6, which of course was made before episode 3. But when we saw him at the beginning of this one, his scars had gone, and his forehead looked more normal before his metamorphosis, or whatever you want to call it, in episode 3. How come that was? Why didn't he look the same? Why did he look different?
This is what I mean. There's certain things wrong here, because his body, I mean, he had white eyes.
Yeah, I assume he was just blind.
Yeah, well, apparently his body were dead, and he was just like half in, half out in spirit world and half in our world.
Oh,
but this is what Disney have meant to have said, and that when he absorbed the Force energy from them too, there was that Sith thing where they can absorb Force energy off somebody.
Right.
It rejuvenated him.
Yeah. Then he started to look more like he did in the earlier films again.
Yeah.
But it wasn't well explained, and I was a bit confused about that.
There was quite a few things in that film not explained, but you're going to be getting answers in March.
Oh, what's happening in March?
The books, they've written, obviously there's these books called Star Wars Aftermath,
right,
which lead into these films. It's official canon, Disney. They're doing the book of the film, which is going to tell you how when he got thrown down the shaft in Jedi, it's going to tell you how he managed to survive that, and it's going to explain Snoke's full origin as well, because we never got nothing on Snoke.
No, although we did see clowns of him at the beginning of the film, which I thought was quite cool. So at least they gave an idea that he was probably a clone. He was something which was, sort of like not. It's an extension, wasn't he, of the actual Emperor? Even though
apparently he in the books of Aftermath. When it's going into the... I don't know if you played Star Wars Battlefront.
No, I don't really play a lot of games.
Well, that is... If you watch the video of the clips joined together, that is... when the Emperor got done down the shaft, a couple of weeks later, these robots called Sentinels turned up on all these Star Destroyers, and they brought in something called Operation Cinder, and that was... Basically, it's a scorched earth policy. He wanted to destroy the Empire.
Right.
Because on planet Jakku, where Rey came from, he had some laboratory there where it was going into unknown regions. He was looking for that planet, but it was being called to by something.
Ah, okay.
But now they've altered all that. So, but apparently it was Snoke. He was meant to have been called Evander or something. He was like an acolyte or something. Because all them people in that stadium, you remember that stadium?
Yeah.
Thousands. They're a cult. They're like the Sith worshippers.
But you didn't really see them. They're really distant. They didn't sort of stand out.
They all live on that planet. I mean, there's a lot that aren't being explained, but originally, in his view, if an empire can't protect its emperor, then his attitude was then it should die. He'd been sending ships and equipment and material out there for years.
Right.
Out there. There was something out there that called him out there. This is all official, but when I watched the Rise of Skywalker, it's sort of they upturned quite a bit of that, but that is official.
Right. Okay. But
I don't know what Snoke is. Even now, still.
No,
really don't.
I'm not quite sure what he was about and his role in it. He just seemed to be. He seemed to be like a sort of figurehead for the Emperor, but in disguise or something. And that's the impression I got. He was almost like a hologram of the Emperor, even though he wasn't, and he was speaking with maybe the Emperor's force controlling him somehow. That's the way I saw
like
it.
the thing where he was stuck to that life support system, which sort of made sense. That worked for me, because if he say used all what energy he had left when he was falling down shaft to somehow open a wormhole, teleport his spirit or whatever to get to that planet, that he might have been using clone bodies, or his body was so badly damaged that he was trying to rejuvenate. He was vulnerable.
Yeah,
because So that's why he had to keep his presence a secret. But then it didn't make sense when he said to Rey that I want you to strike me down, and then I can meet, and all the generations of Sith can live inside your body.
Yeah, and it seems so he is sort of indicating that it was literally each Sith is almost more powerful than the previous one, because when they die, their essence is then transferred to the next Sith that takes over them.
Yeah, it's because it was a 1,000-year plan. Started with Darth Bane, the rule of two, which has never made any sense to me. That
Right.
the apprentice, that is like you teach somebody all your dark arts and force stuff, and then one day they knock you off, and then they get an apprentice, and then it happens again.
Yeah, because there can only ever be two Sith at the same time.
Yeah, because there was a guy called Darth Bane in the Old Republic. He killed all the Sith. He set a big, because there used to be a big out, there used to be loads of them.
Right.
And he went with Ruler 2, and they hid in the shadows, and the Jedi became bit up their own backside. They, over 1,000 years, people forgot about the Sith, but they were there,
Right.
manipulating in the background. It's a lot. I mean, you know, to catch up on. I mean, but it seems this film, they've sort of undone their own canon a bit here for me.
Yeah, no, I know it was a bit, but like I said, I think I'm going to like it more once I've actually seen it about 2 or 3 more times. That's that.
Oh, that's my phone.
Oh, fine.
I think if you watch it, I think I'm going to buy it on Blu-ray definitely.
Yeah.
But I think when you watch it at home a couple of times, I think you're going to see a lot more in the film.
That's what I'm thinking. I liked it. I actually think I'm going to like it more and more the more I see it, because there was a lot I liked. And then what you need, it's such a good film in that way that you just need to get your head and work it all out for yourself. And once you've done that, then long term you'll think, oh, this is cool. And that's the way I see it. I actually think that it's something.
Well, some of the fan bases they've just thrown it in. They're saying that it's undone the redemption of Vader, and it makes Skywalker line pointless. And I do get the point where they're coming with that, but you know, Star Wars is a decade thing. Like every decade, you're going to get 3 Star Wars films, and it's going to change. It changes with the environment all the time. So I agree with you. I think at some point you're going to watch this film one day and think on the 3rd time, 4th time, think, well, this isn't actually that bad.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to. The one thing which I will be thinking about, and somebody pointed this out, which is correct, is that this film introduced something which has been mooted, especially on The Mandalorian, of force healing. And of course, Qui-Gon Jinn in Episode 1, he gets the lightsaber through him by Maul, and of course, how come Obi-Wan doesn't force heal him? Now, it's possible that only certain Jedi know about force healing. It might be a specific thing between, but of course it didn't exist back then, as far as I know. So, you know, that's the one thing where newer films, because it's a 9-series arc, there are some things from the earlier ones where you think, well, they did it in Episode 9, couldn't they have done it in Episode 1, so then Qui-Gon would have survived, or, you know, things like that. But that's just me being over.
Yeah, but couldn't Luke have healed Vader?
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is whether force healing is something which was well known back in the day, or maybe it was something which only certain Jedi could do. What do you think about that side of things?
A lot of people, a lot of people have done quite a bit about this. I assume it must be like a certain thing, only certain type of Jedi, because I think certain force powers, they're individual.
That's what I'm thinking as well, yeah. Each Jedi has certain strengths and weaknesses within the Force, and so certain ones can do certain things and others can't do that. And that, if you think about that, then that fits, that work.
Yeah.
So that's the way I'm saying it. So let me say, I've already answered my own question on the podcast, so there we go.
Well, she fired that electric bolt and destroyed that ship, didn't she?
Yeah.
You know, which I was surprised at that. I mean, that's when you got your first clue that she was granddaughter. Well, we all knew, but she was the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine. But I mean, I don't know when he got time to go around meeting people.
I know, poking Palpatine. Yeah, you wonder when he was doing other things than what he was. Yeah, exactly. But you don't know.
I'm not being like meeting him in a nightclub, like looking like that. I mean, that poor woman. I mean, waking up next to him next morning with yellow eyes. When did he get?
And then he leans over and he says, "How was it for you?"
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, I did like she were connected. I did like that. I've got to admit, I did like her being his granddaughter.
Yeah, did you get that impression before the film that she would be the granddaughter? I didn't see it myself until...
No, I started to put the dots together that when they said he were coming back.
Yeah, I
thought she's got to be connected to him.
The one issue which is a problem is, of course, Lucas's films, he originally had a plan for all of them in order, and the prequels actually did fit that quite well. These sequels, though, they weren't pre-written. They were actually individually written, and then, of course, the third one had to be joined together. So I think that's one factor.
The second one that messed it all up.
Yeah, exactly. But if they'd have done what Lucas would have done, i.e. thought the ideas for each 3 films all linked together, rather than doing one and then getting Ryan bloody Johnson in and messing everything up, and then, of course, trying to patch up his mess with episode 9...
Yeah, but surely that when they set out the 3 movies, there must have been a plan originally with J.J. Abrams.
I don't think there was, because if there had been, why would we have Ryan Johnson messing it all up?
Yeah, but if you're going to write a series, a trilogy, you're going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, aren't you? You might change it because of production.
Well, I would assume
you're going to stick to theme.
I would assume so, but I don't know whether that was the case.
I don't know. A lot of people said they were just making it up as they were going along.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. That's how it does, unfortunately, appear to me, at least in some regard. But
I mean, what about when she had that bit? I mean, I did like the scene with Adam Driver and Kylo Ren, when he redeemed himself. I like the scene with Han Solo. I really did like that scene.
Oh God, I did get a bit teary-eyed at that scene.
Yeah, I did.
And suddenly you heard his voice, I think, first, and then he turned around and it was, I went, oh my God, and it was,
I'm back.
And it's like you wonder how much he got paid to sort of like say about 10 lines of dialogue for that film. He probably got about $1 million or even more than that.
Yeah.
So, but it was really nice, actually. It was really touching. It was worth the money as far as I'm concerned. But it was good. Luke was back as in a Force Ghost form again, which was good, and he seemed a bit more in character with his original self. What else did I like about it? C-3PO, I actually thought a lot of them were going to die, and actually most of them made it. Obviously, Princess Leia, she died in it, although they did really excellent work with her, given that she was obviously dead at this point and they just used footage. I think that was good. What else do I like about it? Obviously great special effects, which you would always expect from these sort of films. Good, the John Williams music. Yeah, it was good, but I need to see it again, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be going back to the cinema though.
No, but I think it's only released on DVD, Blu-ray in about 3 months. It won't be long. I think it's March.
There'll be other ways of watching it.
Well, yeah, we're not going to say about that, but there will be other ways, which we're obviously not condoning, but we're aware that it's out there. So yeah, that's something else to be aware of. So I would say let's finish this off. Unless you've got anything else to say, I'll give it a rating out of 10.
No, I think we agree on that. I think we're of the same opinion.
So out of 10, what should we give it?
There, isn't there?
So what should we give it our rating out of 10?
I'd go for a 4.
A 4?
No, not out of 10. 7.
I was going to say, I'll give it a quite high one, 8.5. I really liked it.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. I could go up to that watching it a second time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I was quite blown away by it. I thought there was some great scenes in it. I liked it.
I thought it was a good film. I'm not knocking it, but there was a lot of flaws in it, which I think until this so-called book comes out and everybody leaks the book on YouTube, and then you get to watch about the books, then you're going to get the answers. Then the book will make more sense when it all fits the dots together.
Yeah. I think so. But yeah, I was pleased with it. It was a great popcorn flick, and I came out of the film very happy, which is often, like I said, most Star Wars films, I've come out really blown away. I was blown away by Rogue One. I was underwhelmed by Solo. I was blown away by Force Awakens and this new one. It was just The Last Jedi where I came out. I thought, okay, it's all right.
I liked Solo. I really did like Solo.
I need to. I've seen that about 3 times. I just never clicked with Solo yet. I don't know why. A lot of people like it. Some people like it more than Rogue One. I don't know whether it's just that I'm so used to Harrison Ford being Solo. But yeah, I need to give it another rewatch. So I think we should do that. Let's move on now to quickly talk about The Mandalorian. Yet you haven't seen the final episodes, but you can talk about what you've seen up to where you are.
I don't mind spoilers. I'm not bothered.
Let's not spoil the last episode because there are some facts. I mean, but up to that point, what do you think about it? How's it come across?
When I first started, when my friend, I watched it at his house. I was I felt second episode quite funny, but since I've been watching, they keep extending it. You get a 30-minute one, then a 40-minute one, and it's all a bit weird, you know. And I think it's really good. I just think they've set this amazing universe up. If you've seen Clone Wars, the cartoon set, which I do recommend.
Actually, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch Clone Wars.
Trust me, I envy you. You've got 6 seasons of it to get through, and if Star Wars were like that, the Clone Wars surpasses the films. It's that good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, right. I will.
Trust me, you won't be able to turn it off.
Okay, I will. And then there's is it Rebels, the one after that? There's another sequel?
Rebels is fantastic, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I will do that this year, I promise, and we'll give that a review.
Definitely.
But The Mandalorian, it's well made. It's got some great stories. I will give you a slight spoiler for the last episode. We see 2 scout troopers. You know how stormtroopers are terrible at shooting things? And you see these 2, and they try to shoot like a rock or something, and they keep missing it, and they had this sort of like funny routine. It's 2 comedians playing these 2 scout troopers, and it's just a very funny routine. That's all I'm saying about the last episode, but it's very funny.
Are you gonna buy a Baby Yoda?
I to be honest with you, we got a 3D printer over Christmas, so I could do a 3D printed Baby Yoda. So
yeah, but it'd be so cute.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's something which it's what's so crazy is that majority of people in the UK are not supposed to have even seen it yet because it's not out here until March.
I know.
Baby Yoda's known about it. Everyone's heard about Baby Yoda.
It's interesting that when you go back to The Last Jedi, what the marketing,
the porgs,
and they never sold.
No, they're awful. Although I think we saw a porg in the last one, didn't we? I think they featured a porg.
Briefly.
Yeah, and we saw Warwick Davis back as the Ewok.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
which I thought
the Death Star wasn't on Endor.
That
wasn't Endor. It was the other moon next to Endor.
Oh, I thought it was just a scene where we just saw him on his planet on Endor.
No, that's where he was on Endor. But that was the second Death Star. Everybody should have really crashed on Endor, but it didn't. When it blew up, its hyperspace reactor exploded and blasted a big chunk of it right onto the second moon. Everybody's going mad about it. That's their explanation. Because if that had hit Endor, it would have damaged the moon.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you just got to sort of just shake your head and just think, "Oh, that's what they've done." As a sci-fi fan, sometimes you just have to think whatever and just get. That's the problem. If you look into it too much, you can just about unravel anything that you like.
Yeah, but I think like when you watch stuff 20 years ago, you sort of accepted it. When you watch stuff like Buck Rogers and stuff back in 80s and you just accepted the word. At some point we started questioning stuff.
I actually think it's partly to do with the internet, and it's us going on websites now. You get thousands of pages saying, how can they did this, how can they did that? And of course back in the day you'd only have like if you bought magazines like TV Zone or whatever, you'd have like you'd have like a 2-page sort of questionnaire sort of thing where people are writing in and asking questions and stuff, and then they would reply, and that's all you'd have. But of course now you have literally, you can look online forever for questions about anything. Yeah. And I think that's why now a lot of modern films and TV shows have so much more criticism and so much more analysis, because it's out there. And you watch like a new Doctor Who or something, and I guarantee you 2 hours later you got the reactions from the fans saying, oh my god, and all this sort of stuff. And it's just a different world that we live in. And I think, as you say, that's why now new shows and films, it's a lot harder for them to do stuff without people really sort of saying, oh, well, how did they do that? Well, hang on a minute, they should have done that. And it's just the way it is. It's just society's changed. So talking about the next thing over Christmas, of course, Doctor Who has returned. And I saw your reviews of episodes 1 and 2. So obviously some people here wouldn't have heard that review or watched your stream. So it's gone quite well so far, in your opinion. Is that right?
Obviously, there's a couple of flaws, but I think she's really trying, and she seems to be creating an identity for herself. I mean, I spoke to some people on Sunday, and the people that came on, they were all quite impressed with it. Yeah, so far, I've actually enjoyed both episodes.
Yeah, I did as well. I thought it was quite a lot of surprises. The new guy who plays the Master was bloody brilliant. I thought he was great.
I thought he was so
now, he was, of course, I remember him. He was in An Adventure in Time and Space.
Yes, he was.
And he was the guy who was the director or something. He was working in the actual. So he was well known to Doctor Who fans already. He was great. I didn't see it coming. And when he was on that airplane, and then suddenly he starts to it caught me. And then he starts cackling and looking completely berserk, and I thought he was really good. And then of course we hear something to do with the Timeless Child. There's some new Gallifreyan dark secret, which is why, as I'm surprised he hasn't done it already, he goes and destroys Gallifrey again, apparently.
Oh, he's always destroying Gallifrey. He does it every week.
I know, he is. It's like it's a sort of weekly routine for him. I mean, you got to think about that. It's weird though, because Gallifrey was supposed to be time locked in a pocket universe. It was then we knew that they were alive, but I thought they couldn't get out of that pocket universe.
Yeah, but they did, didn't they? I think they did get out, because the Doctor, Peter Capaldi, went back to Gallifrey, didn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, nobody seems to have left Gallifrey, other Time Lords that we've seen.
No.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm wondering.
There's Rassilon's out there somewhere.
Yeah, Rassilon must be back as well. And what about the Rani? You know, I mean...
I don't know. But it's... I mean, I don't... Obviously, they won't be destroyed. You can't get rid of Time Lords. It's... in the Who, they're probably the most advanced race in the Doctor Who universe. They're one of them. The top of the ladder in the Who universe. But... the whole thing of him destroying Gallifrey. I mean, the second episode was okay. I did prefer the first.
I did as well.
There's too many assistants for me. I can't get my head around Rani and the young guy.
I think Ryan's going to get killed. I've got a feeling he's going to get killed off.
And his grandson. I just don't think he can act, and I just find them too pointless. But I think Bradley Walsh.
Bradley Walsh is fine. The other two are. I think it's too diluted. I think, like I said, I think the Ryan actor's not the best actor. But if it had just been him and the Doctor, I don't think it would have worked if it's just those two.
No, well, you get. I think you get somebody in as well, because I like Bradley. He's always freaking out when it's all too much for him, and
he's great. He's good. I don't mind the girl, but the last time we had three assistants at the same time was the 80s, when it was Tegan, Nyssa, and Adric, and of course one of them. I didn't mind him actually, but he got killed off.
I met him. I hate him.
Matthew.
Oh, don't even mention that name.
Why? What?
He's horrible. He's horrible.
Is he? What, the actor?
Yeah, I met him years ago at the Seoul convention. He was
like?
Horrible.
What's he? What did he
was just really funny with people, and plus a lot of people are. It's just his character as well. It's so annoying. I'm glad he died and got sent back in time, and in the DVD he gets eaten by a dinosaur.
Does he?
Yeah, if you buy the DVD, right?
Yeah.
Right, of where he he's on that ship, and it goes back in time to the beginning of the human race. He survives that crash, and they made a clip where it's all plasticine, where he's a plasticine. Oh, going, I'm alive, and there's a Cyberman helmet talking to him, and this big T-Rex comes up and eats him.
Okay, I've not seen that.
Yeah, okay. I loved it. But best thing, I hate that character.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I just remember him being on that ship and it was crashing towards Earth, and then...
Well, he survived.
Yeah, okay, well, okay. It seems a bit weird. Seems a bit weird to me, but there you go.
Watch the DVD.
Yeah.
Laser shoes.
Laser shoes, there you go.
Yeah, laser shoes, Bradley Walsh, when he fired the laser shoes.
Did you like those?
No.
No, you didn't.
Did you like the laser?
I didn't like the fact that you sort of like dancing and skipping about like looking like an idiot. I didn't like that bit.
No, I mean, 4 top secret agent men with a pair of shoes that fired lasers they couldn't even aim straight.
Yeah, that was one of those elements I didn't enjoy of it, actually. I mean, like I said, I liked a lot of it, but that bit I thought was a bit
it tends to be like that. Like we've heard it were amazing, where she were travelling through and meeting all these really interesting like feminine heroes, which they were great, powerful characters. I didn't mind that. I know some people are going to say we're getting PC again. I didn't care about that. I
wasn't bothered by that either.
I found it really good, and it were interesting with her. I was so focused, and I loved it how the master turned up all the time, in these different time frames.
Yeah.
But the thing was when he told her, and then when she went to Gallifrey, and there was that holographic message where he'd done it to torment her, and he said, you're gonna have to find out, but everything you believe in, what we've been taught, is been a lie. Everything about her race is a lie.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder what that is. I mean, what is the lie, and how is that going to change it? I mean, is this something which could change Doctor Who permanently, and we'll look at it in a different frame of mind, or?
Well, yeah, that's the story arc for this season or 2 seasons.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely interesting, but next week looks like it's going to be more of a sort of filler episode. But yeah, so far so good. So far so good. But you got that guy from The In-Betweeners in it, so that'd be quite good. So I'll watch that. What else have we seen? Lost in Space season 2. How did you find that?
I enjoyed it. It was good, but I love Dr. Smith. I think she's great.
You do, yeah.
I really do. She's so manipulative and evil. But I want to get into space now and end up on different worlds, and it lacked that sort of thing, and the robot thing as well was getting a bit annoying. But it was very good. Yeah,
I liked it. I mean, because eventually they end up back on their space station, and then of course everyone's gone, and then of course eventually, I mean, a lot happened. It's another one of those things that when you binge watch, I think it's better to watch a series 1 episode a week, so you can really think about. Yeah, because I watched it all in about 1 day, and I think to myself, I really need to see this all again because a lot happened and a lot of things. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I mean, it sounds like you prefer binge watching, but it depends on what it is.
It was good. It was very good. I mean, I love the first season. I just think like the Will Robinson robot thing relationship. I don't know. I just like to. I want them to get into the universe now and find a way to Alpha Centauri. I don't want them bumping into other people. I want them out there, and and I'm fascinated by the robot as well. I do, but it was like they tried to make this special thing out of it. It dribbled on a bit with that, but apart from a lot of it, it was very good. The characters are very strong.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with it. It's just a couple of flaws in there, but I'm not too picky.
You've always got that guy with the chicken as well, which is a bit weird, but there you go.
Yes, well, he's done. Isn't he done West Ham?
I don't know.
I think he was that in the 60s one. He's that young fella. He's that character, isn't he?
Oh, okay.
John West. He should have been. He was an Air Force pilot, but he's an engineer. But he was okay. I liked it.
Yeah, no, it's good. But they are making another season, I assume. It has been confirmed, is it?
Yeah, it's been a big hit. Yeah, it's massive. Well, they're not going to reveal Origins at Robot on that in second season, are they? It's going to be third season. Normally, it's the third season you start getting the hungry answers year after. So I assume season 3 is going to blow the other two out of the water.
Yeah. I also heard that although they're making a third season of the Orville, they might not be making a fourth season, apparently. Because they had this Californian tax credit thing or something
for the movie industry.
Yeah, but I think that also is certain things. I think this Star Trek Picard claimed it and they got it, but apparently they have not yet sought the tax credit for a potential fourth season. So whether we're going to get whether the Orville will just finish on the end of a third season, obviously it's too early to tell yet. But it just makes you start to worry whether we're going to get a long term from that series. But
you won't be seeing Orville till next autumn.
No, it's ages away. It's ages
I know,
away.
It's annoying, is that?
Yeah, it is. But we had plenty to sort of watch over this last month, which I'm happy about. So yeah, first two for Doctor Who season 12, looking good. Apparently they're going to be filming again in the summer. So they're having a short break. So I'm assuming that we're not going to have another gap like we did last year of just one episode. So hopefully we'll have obviously we've got the season 12, 10 episodes this year. Yep. They've done a special which I think will be again New Year's 2021, and then hopefully we'll get season 13 in 2021 further on in the year. So fingers crossed on that.
Well, I'm saying I reckon she'll be off by third season.
I think it's become too much of a norm now for an actor to be the Doctor now for 3 seasons only. Trying to think about it, the first Doctor was 3 seasons, I think. The second was. The third, I think, was. Obviously, then Tom Baker was about 6 seasons or something.
Yeah, I think he was longest, wasn't he, Tom Baker?
He was. And then Peter Davison was 3. Colin Baker was 2 because he got fired. And Sylvester McCoy was 3. And then, of course, David Tennant was 3, but then he had all those specials. Matt Smith was 3. And then, what's the next guy who did it?
Capaldi.
Capaldi, yeah. He was 3 as well. Yeah. So,
well, I've noticed with this generation of Doctor Who the last 10 years, it's massive in America, and they stick around for a couple of seasons because David Tennant's done really well in America.
Yeah, I know.
And Matt Smith, I don't know as much. He's on a lot of stuff, but David Tennant, he's got himself really into American television. He seems to be Jessica Jones and all this other stuff. His career's took really well in America. Matt Smith, I don't know who meant to be in Star Wars, but
I was going to say that because he was supposed to be a young Palpatine or something.
Yeah.
So whether he was, they filmed some stuff, and I said like a prequel to what was going on when we saw him, but then he would have been young. I think that must have been a false rumor because how could he have been in the film?
Well, did somebody want his name on IMDb? Is it IMDb? His name up there?
IMDb, but they often I've been there and the stuff they provided is wrong. I think a lot of it's rumour and stuff, so I think the IMDb is not the most accurate resource for acting roles and their forthcoming commitments kind of thing, so it's not the best one. But yeah, interesting. It was pretty good. Anything else new that you've seen that you want to share with us?
I watched Men in Black 4.
What was that like? I've not seen that.
Alright. Yeah, I know it flopped. But
Men in Black International, wasn't it?
That's it was okay. I mean, it wasn't brilliant. I think it's one of them films you'd sit and watch on a Sunday night, and you'd probably, but that's it. But it was enjoyable. I quite liked it.
And of course, Will Smith's not in this one, is he?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the Men in Black films, actually. I liked the first one a lot. I was a bit underwhelmed by the second one. I thought the third one had a time travelling aspect, which was okay. But I think they're quite... I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but I think they're... You know, if someone says, oh, we've got Men in Black is on, do you want to watch it? I'll say, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're quite good. So, but you say it's worth giving it a watch if you get the chance.
Yeah, I mean, like, sit down with your family, put it on. It's entertaining. It's like Sunday. It's not like something you'd watch on a Sunday. You know.
Brilliant. Okay. Oh, and I've now seen the first season of Expanse, which is good.
So.
And I think that at the end of that, there's something to do with aliens. That's all I'm saying.
I can't tell you.
I know.
I put a prime directive on this. I cannot tell as much as I want. I can't tell you.
I know, but it's a lot, but I like it. But I think that's aliens. It must be, especially that last scene where this guy gets sort of grabbed and it shoots up in the ceiling or something. I don't know what it was, but anyway.
Did you watch Dracula? I've not seen it yet.
No. Do you know what? I've been so put off from watching anything from the BBC after watching The War of the Worlds. Do you know that's been put off from seeing it? Honestly, I thought after seeing that War of the Worlds, which is the biggest pile of shite I've ever seen.
Agreed.
I thought, well, if they can mess up a story as good as H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, what can they do to Dracula?
Well, apparently Dracula's it was a big hit.
Yeah. So, but was it? Yeah, but was it just good in ratings, or was it good in viewing comments?
Everybody's said it's really good. Apparently, the final episode where it's going. Obviously, they said it's like a 4-hour pilot. Really, that's what they said. But they said you want more.
Right.
I've not
I
seen
don't know.
it.
I might see it. I don't know. It's possible. I mean, I was like, this Nightmare Man Facebook page that we follow. I did this Salem's Lot Dracula thing. I made him into a Sith.
I couldn't stop laughing when he put that bit.
I know. It was good fun. But no, it's just that.
Good.
The thing is, you see, I was talking to the guy that runs it, and of course, the Salem's Lot guy, he's got the yellow eyes. It looked like Sith eyes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
and I thought, oh, let's do it. So it came out quite funny. And then I also did a Boris Johnson thing as well. So I love doing that stuff. Sometimes if I wanted to having a quiet time, you have some silly idea, and luckily I know enough about Photoshop to do something quite funny. But yeah, I think that went down quite well.
The funny thing, Boris Johnson's head did fit it quite nicely. I mean, that was the thing. If you'd have had him in the film with his head, you'd have thought, well, yeah, I could see that in that film, actually.
I know, but they'll ride on that side that, of course, it could be political. And he said, I might have to take this down. And luckily, it was all right. It was all right. But and it wasn't based on politics, which we do not talk about.
No.
But it was just simply that it's Boris Johnson, and he's such a odd character that it made it funny. So imagine him. Yes. You can imagine him sort of like outside Number 10 as the head, sort of running around with the spider legs and stuff like that. So
you're terrifying me now.
Give you nightmares. Oh, so what else have we got to look forward to now? So we've got 2 or 3 weeks until the new Picard series.
Discovery. When's that coming back? I assume that'll be on at some point, going towards the end of Picard. Yeah. Is Picard weekly, or is it going to be like 10 episodes?
I think it's going to be weekly. And I think it's about 10 episodes. I don't think it's going to be like all in one go. I think it'd be like we'll watch it with The Mandalorian, where it's just once a week, and then you've got to wait, and then you've got to watch the next episode. Which, yes, I'm old-fashioned, but I tend to think I prefer that in many ways.
I was in Argos in Ealing just before Christmas, and they had this offer on there. You could buy yourself a Sky Stick, an Now TV stick for 30 quid.
Right.
And you got 6 months worth of Sky TV on it.
Right.
Free.
Oh, go.
Plug it. So I thought, well, 30 quid. I thought, well, I don't have to. I'm not going to pay out. So you get 3 months of Sky TV.
Yeah. What's it
so
like?
I plugged it inside of my telly, and suddenly I got all this stuff. I got instead of having to watch it where I've been watching it, I thought, God, I can get up to date right now. But there was so much on it for the next 6 months, all these I discovered a TV series called Project Blue Book.
Right, never heard of it.
Well, nor did I, and I couldn't turn it off. It was 10 episodes. It was about these UFO investigators in 50s. and 60s, and there's a couple of famous. I forgot what the guys. You'll have seen him around, the actor, and it was really good. And I watched it. It was all about like an event happens with a UFO, and they turn up. Obviously, because it's based on this book the US Air Force did called, but they documented all the sightings,
right.
And then they tried to, how do you say, sort of say to the people it was a weather balloon, weather, and all this. But it's coming out. There's a conspiracy in the background, but obviously they've added more to it,
right?
And that there is something going on because these two know there is, but them above. No, it's really, and I thought this is really good. I can't turn this off. So I was surprised.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I am trying to watch some new shows, so maybe that's something else I can try and get hold of at some point. And of course,
I recommend getting an Now TV stick. You get 6 months worth of Sky. You get up to date and everything. I mean, I don't know where to start. I just sit there, just like where there's all these series things. I didn't even know. Magnum. I didn't even know they'd remade Magnum.
What? They didn't remake Magnum, did they? How can they remake Magnum?
Yeah, it's on second season. Oh. And there's a Y50 that
I heard about that one. That looked awful.
But it's really good. It's 10 seasons in. I didn't know it were 10 seasons in. I'm like, where have I been?
The best thing about that show was the theme tune at the beginning.
Oh well, they've got all that. I mean, they've covered. They've got. It's very good. They've got all the old, the music and that. But now they've teamed them up with. They've expanded the universe. There's a big episode coming in next summer. Magnum and a Y50 team up, right. And then there's a Y50 teams up with NCIS and CI. And there's this big universe of detective shows where they all team up to fight a baddie.
Yeah, but that's quite fun. I love crossovers. I like the Stargate when they were on at the same time. You had loads of crossovers with those Atlantis and SG-1, and sometimes I was watching an episode and I didn't even know which series I was watching. It was that much. It was crossing over that often. It was amazing.
One of the best ones was, you remember when Ron and Dex and Tilt just had it at each other?
Oh, that was the one where they had the gates in between. It's called Midway. It's called Midway.
Yeah.
And they end up with the Wraith in the middle, and they're trying to. That was the best episode of season 4. That was really good.
It was brilliant. With that creepy scientist that collapsed him, he was I remember it.
I think he was so scared. He sort of like he thought he was going to get his life force sucked out of him, and then the guy raises up his hand, and then he just kills over. It's quite fun.
I mean, you've got like these two super badass hard dudes that you put them two in a room, they're gonna slaughter everything.
Yeah, I know.
That'd be a good one for Predator, wouldn't it? Tilk versus the Predator.
Oh, maybe next week, and then I could do in the jingle. I could get Tilk saying "Indeed" or something.
Indeed.
There we go. All right, brilliant. So, that's quite a few things we talked about tonight. Anything else you can think about talking about that you want to share with us?
No. I will be on after Doctor Who for 40 minutes talking about Doctor Who on Sunday. I think 8 o'clock.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, I tend
this week, Martin's Sci-Fi Appeal.
Yep, it's Martin's Sci-Fi Appeal. Unfortunately, I don't normally get the chance to watch you live, but I do normally watch you on the catch-up or on once it's obviously been released. You have always very kindly plugged us on your channel as well. So on Sci-Fi podcast is on iTunes. It's free. For some reason, though, if you are looking at us up on there, you have to put in the whole title. If you just type in Solar One podcast, it doesn't sort of show up on the listings. It might be because it's new, it takes a while to establish itself, and once it's become longer term, then perhaps the search engine is a bit better. But
somebody asked me, said, "Do you have to pay for that?" I said, "No, it's free."
No, I could be conning you. I could be making thousands, and just you're like a free kind of volunteer. No, I doubt it somehow. No, I mean we need to get a few more listeners. I mean, we on the YouTube channel I'm running, we're getting about 200 views on there per episode, which is a good start, I think. But it'd be nice to get a bit more established and a bit more out there. So hopefully it will. Martin, thank you very much. This has been a great episode. I've had a good catch up. Next week we'll be focusing on either a well-known TV series or film, like we normally do. And I want to leave with a great acoustic. It's a guitar play of the Mandalorian's theme tune. I came across it over Christmas, and I thought, what a great way to end an episode, especially after we talked so much about Star Wars. So thank you, Martin. Thank you to all our listeners. Live long and prosper, and we'll catch you next week.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
All right. All the best. We'll catch you later.